there. I'm Amy.Connell. Welcome to Graced Health, the podcast for women who want simple and grace-filled ways to take care of themselves and enjoy a little chocolate in the process. I am a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach who wants you to know your eating, movement, and body don't have to be perfect. You just need to be able to do what you're called to do. If you looked at today's episode title, which is the Untold Stories Behind Your Worthy Body Walks, you are probably wondering, what in the heck is Your Worthy Body Walks? What are you talking about, Amy? I get it. And I am here to tell you. So this is the deal. I have written a book. Yay! And the book is called Your Worthy Body. It comes out on November 4th, 2021. So if you are listening to this in real time, that is about 5 weeks away. This episode is dropping on September 28th, 2021. And so you'll have a few more weeks to wait until it comes out, but I'm super excited about it. This book is for women who are just doing the best they can in their health, but they just get either overwhelmed or burdened or tired of all of the health, quote unquote, rules out there. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about when you talk to other people, when you see the BuzzFeed articles, when you hear about the best or the most or whatever program, health program that's out there. There's just a lot, you guys. There's a lot of things that we hear and it gets overwhelming. I feel that way too. And I feel like I have a decent amount of knowledge surrounding all of this. So what I do in this book is I use exercise and nutrition science. Like, these are facts. This is not just my woo-woo thoughts. Okay. These are scientific evidence-based information. And I combine that with exercise and nutrition. And then I kind of look at that all through a lens of faith, because it is very well known here that I am a Jesus follower. But I look at those through the lens of faith to debunk the rules and then empower my readers to do what's best for them. And not what the program says, not what the influencer says, not what you may have read on, the latest articles or whatever, but it really gives you applicable ways of figuring that out. It is not a typical health and diet book. If you are looking for a how-to, this is not what's right for you. But this is me laying things out and empowering you to figure out what is best for you. What's best for you in your eating, what's best for you in your movement, and then what's best for you in terms of how God made you and how He is calling you to love and serve others now and in the future. So we talk a lot about mindset, and then we get into the applicable stuff of it. I'm super excited about it. Now, one of the things that I did, and I didn't really plan on this being such a big project, but it did, and that's just how it goes, and I'm proud of it now, but it's been a lot of work, I got to admit, is almost every single chapter, I think 19 out of the 22 chapters, have a resource that goes along with it. What are these resources? Well, some of them might be recipes that go along with a story in that chapter. Some of them might be more journaling type things of reflection of, different ways of journaling. Some of them might be tracking and assessing how you're feeling, how things treat you, all of that kind of stuff. There are different scorecards on there for yourself. And these are just things for you to evaluate, again, what works for you, how things make you feel, and that way you can use that information. The other thing that I have done, because of course this is my greatest wheelhouse, is I have included a lot of fitness resources. I have in the book a QR code, and you scan that QR code, you go to an online library, it's all free, and it has all of the resources that are listed in the book on this online space. So I have a description of how to do a squat or a push-up, and then I actually show that on the video if that's new to you. I give you a 5-minute mobility warm-up or cool-down, and then on the video, I actually do the 5-minute warm-up or cool-down with you. I have 3 full-length fitness videos that you can do until you're tired of me, and then when you're tired of me, you can just print off the directions and do that. I have 32 movements demoing, of like showing you how to do things with the proper form, because proper form is super important to me. So when I tell you good mornings are good for your hamstrings and glutes, and you're like, I don't know what good mornings are. Well, guess what? I tell you and I show you, and you can watch the video. So that is, those are kind of the resources. Or when I tell you why you don't have to work out for a full hour, I give you a 20-minute video to do or a 20-minute workout to do, and that goes along with it. One of my chapters is called Walking Isn't a Real Workout. And I think if you are like me and you have been in the fitness world in some capacity, even just as a participant for a while, you may have this mindset that walking isn't a real workout. Newsflash, it is. And I tell you why, and I tell you all of the benefits to it. The resource for that particular chapter is something that everyone can enjoy, even if you don't buy the book. And that resource is a playlist to play when you're on your next walk. I'm super excited about it, and it is called Your Worthy Body Walks, and it is on Spotify. Spotify is a free app. It has a lot of music. It's actually my favorite app for discovering new music and just playing things. It's I have really enjoyed it. And of course, this podcast is on Spotify as well as Apple and all of the other places that you listen to it. So this is something that I wanted to be able to make available to everyone, which is why it's on Spotify. So whether or not you buy the book, I want you to be able to listen to the music that I love to listen to. I have a very eclectic appreciation for music, but what I did with this particular playlist is I used a litmus test of if it goes on or not. And that litmus test is it appropriate for the middle school girls at my church, who I volunteer with, to listen to? Now, everybody has their own different pulse on what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. So if you're concerned at all, I mean, this is not all Christian music. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you only like to listen to Christian music, then this playlist is not for you. However, I do have a lot of encouraging songs and positive songs, and I've worked really hard to make sure that there are not any songs with an E by it. I had some songs on there originally and thought, is this appropriate for my middle school girls? Maybe not. So I took it out. So I hope that it meets that same type of litmus test for you. But it is a highly curated, fun, encouraging, and upbeat songs. Some of them have more meaning to me than others. I think we all have those songs that just bring a smile to our face or take us back to a particular time. This is reminding me, I think it was I can't remember the name of the country singer, but it was Ain't It Funny How a Melody Brings Back a Memory. Yeah, now that song's going to be in your head. I'm sorry if you are familiar with that song. That came out probably in the early 90s. Anyway, some of these songs just bring back a really great memory of mine. And I just wanted to share a little bit of the stories with it. So that way, when you are listening to the workout or to the playlist, you might hear the songs and go, oh yeah, that's when Amy used to drive to go see her boyfriend in college, who's now her husband, or something like that. So like I said, this is a very eclectic list. If you don't like one song, that's okay. Just go ahead and hit next to the next song. But I have really enjoyed listening to this. Actually, I have put this together. I think by now I'm totaling 4 hours of music. I have been listening to it when I do my own workouts, when I go on my walks, when I've been doing sprints, and it's just been a lot of fun. So I'm excited to share it with you. I hope you enjoy it as well. So what I did was for today is I picked out 11 songs that I wanted to just share a little bit about. And like I said, then you might feel a little bit more of a connection to them as we go along. So let's go ahead and dig in. And these are not necessarily in any particular order. Okay, the first one that is super meaningful to me is I Lived by One Republic. This came out around 2014. And I know that because I used this song when I did a special project for my 40th birthday. What I decided I wanted to do was 40 days of we'll just call it movement in increments of 40 leading up to my 40th birthday. I called it 40, 40, 40. So I did things like I went on a 40-minute walk. We have this really big hill in my neighborhood, and I ran over and back the hill 4 times. So it wasn't all like 40 reps of something. And I invited my friends to participate with me. I took several hours one day. I mapped out what I wanted to do. I did a sign up genius, and I just sent it out to all of my friends and said, hey, I would love to do this with you. And some of them did it with me in person. Some of it did it virtually. And then they would take a picture of themselves or they would video themselves. And it was just such a fun way to celebrate a milestone birthday with all I was able to do with my body. And not all of them were super momentous feats, though I will say one of them was I did 40 pull-ups, and I think I might have permanently injured my biceps doing that. I don't recommend doing 40 pull-ups in more of like a chin up under grip position unless you're trained for it. I'll just say that. And by the way, it was not real pull-ups. Oh my gosh, there's no way I could have done that. I even like did the assisted at the gym, and it was still way too much for my bicep. I did a compilation of all of the videos and pictures and put it together to a song, which was I Lived. That was a long story to tell you about I Lived. I promise not all of the other ones will be that long. But anyway, that one is just a really meaningful song. Number 2, Testify by Need to Breathe. I am a huge Need to Breathe fan. I started listening to them, I think, right when they first came out. If you are ever looking for a fabulous album, go listen to The Outsiders. I think it might be their first album, maybe their second, and it is just full of really fantastic music. Testify is a great song, but I remember this was when I was running more. I was running and I had just finished like a 5-mile run. The sun was coming up, and this song just kind of builds and builds and builds. And there's this moment that you can almost hear the sun coming up from the clouds, and you can see the rays shooting down. And I kid you not, right when that happened, the sun came up from the clouds in real life for me as I'm finishing up this run. And it was just like a hug from God. I don't know how else to explain it. It was such a meaningful moment to me. I probably was crying. Sometimes I do that. And it's great because I sweat a lot, so you can't really see all the tears coming down. But it was just one of those that I loved, and I would love for anyone else to be able to experience that as they are walking along. The third song that's on there is Ain't No Mountain High Enough. I told you this was eclectic. I mean, like, this is the Marvin Gaye version, right? And this is another running story. By the way, I don't run all that much. What I have migrated to is running hills and running sprints and then walking the rest of the time. So I was running hills one time, and I was at the end of this workout, and I don't even know why I played it. I was on one of those random, I think, Spotify playlists that I was like, yeah, just play me like Pumped Pop or something like that. And I'm just slogging up this hill, and this song comes on, and I would sing for you, but I'm a terrible singer, so I'm not going to do that. But, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And I felt like this one hill was my own little mountain. And I got so much energy from this one song. And I just started grinning ear to ear and just feeling like I can do this. This is my mountain right now. And I can still conquer it. I can still get up there, and I'm going to do it again after this. And it was such an energy lift for me. It was just such an unexpected song, first of all, to be coming on, because that's normally not like what I would choose. And I'm so grateful it came on because it gave me wings. It really allowed me to just soar up that mountain that time and another time and another time, and finish the workout just feeling great. I just, like I said, I was just grinning. It was so strange. The next song is Beautiful Day by U2. Beautiful Day came out around the year 2000. I'm not sure exactly what the year was, but I'm not really quite sure I had heard it. I don't even know what I was listening to. Probably at that time I was listening to a lot of country music. And I went to go visit my friend Emily Baker, who you have heard on this on the podcast several times. She was back. She was on back in season 3 when she talked about what exactly is grace. We did a bonus episode with her about why you can't leave the past in the past, and I just love Emily. So in 2001. I went up to visit Emily and her husband when they were in seminary in St. Louis, Missouri. And we were going somewhere. I think we were like going to somewhere to get like a burger and fries or something like that. And she said, "Oh, I've got this song that I just love hearing." And she said, when we were moving up here and trying to figure out where to live, we would just play this over and over and over again. And it just was so uplifting to us because we were scared and we didn't know that we weren't exactly sure what we were doing. By the way, this is a 21-year-old memory. So I hope I'm getting it right. But Emily, if you're listening, I hope I'm not screwing up this memory, if you even remember this. Anyway, so she popped in a CD because, yes, that's what we listened to back then. She popped in this CD of U2 and played Beautiful Day. And you guys, okay, Emily is such a faithful person, and she has just deepened her relationship with the Lord so much. And I'm telling you, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I was like, oh, Emily listens to music that's not Christian music. And it just totally opened my eyes to the fact that we can have really great, positive, uplifting music, even if it's not Christian music. And again, I think I was probably listening to country music, but it was her own little version of grace that she didn't even know that she was giving me, and I didn't know I needed. But all of a sudden I was like, oh, wow, this is fantastic. And I loved the song, and I still love the song. And of course, Bono is a Christian who, I don't think I even knew that then, but it's just such a fun memory. And every time I hear Beautiful Day, I think of Emily Baker in St. Louis, Missouri, and we're going to get Steak and Shake burgers or something like that. Okay, the next song is Kryptonite by 3 Doors Down. I used to teach a lot of indoor cycling, and I would put together my playlist for the sets. This was a song that I put on, I think, my very first playlist. It is such just an energizer. And it is one that when I am really wanting to kick it in or give it a little oomph, then this is a great song for that. And in fact, I like it so much that as I was starting to curate these songs over a period of time, I'd worked on this for probably a month or 6 weeks, and I went back and I was looking at the playlist, and I realized that I had Kryptonite on here 3 times. You guys, so I like this as a three-peat, I guess. I don't know. I've since taken 2 of them off, but it is just such a, yeah. I mean, I just love that song, and it's a great one for just when it's time to really give it your all. Give it your all. So I love that one. Okay, another one is Freedom by Jean-Baptiste. Now, I am recently a converter to his music. I love his latest album. I wish I could tell you off the top of my head what it is, but I heard this song recently on the radio, and I just fell in love with it, and it just makes me want to move and groove, and it's just kind of got this cool sound to it. I actually dug into it a little bit more, and he's got a really great story behind it, but it is just a fun song that kind of makes me want to just move and groove down the street. I don't know how to explain it, but there are some songs out there that make me want to dance, and this is one of them. So I hope that you enjoy it as much as I have. Again, it's kind of a newer song. It doesn't have a huge story with it, except when I was listening to it on the radio, I think my son was driving me. I was teaching him how to drive, and I took out my phone and took a picture of the screen because I was like, I have got to remember this, and this has got to go on the playlist. Okay, the next song, Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves. Yes, this is one that I think came out in the late 80s. I went to school in Stillwater, Oklahoma at Oklahoma State University, go Pokes. And while I was in college, I had this boyfriend who went to school in Norman, Oklahoma at the University of Oklahoma. That boyfriend has since turned into my husband. And you would never know if you stepped foot in my house that I went to Oklahoma State, because he has totally overtaken the fandom at this house, and everything here is Boomer Sooner. So that's okay. That's okay. You can have two loves. Not that I love him, but anyway, we won't get into that. But back in the early 90s, I would go, or mid 90s, I would drive back and forth. And of course, I guess maybe there were CD players, but I didn't really listen to it. I just listened to the radio, like what it was. And it was like Sunny 99. Like everybody has their own Sunny 99 in their city, right? Like those are the songs that they're just play kind of fun songs, a little bit lighter songs, and they're somewhat positive, and sometimes they're new, but sometimes they're a little bit old, like Sunny 99. Okay, this is a Sunny 99 song for sure. So I was listening to whatever version of Sunny 99 was, and this song would come on. Every time this song came on while I was driving back and forth from Stillwater to Norman, it just made the next 4 minutes go by so fast. And I would sing, and y'all, I don't sing. I've told you this, only in worship do I sing, but I would sing and just dance, and I was excited. Dance in my car. I mean, that's not so much dancing, but that song, just every time I hear Walking on Sunshine, it makes me think of the miles and miles and miles I put on my car going back and forth to visit my boyfriend, now husband. And it was probably, I think it was like an hour and 26 minutes, if I remember correctly. So that song reminds me of my husband. Now, from the same era is the next song, which is One Headlight by the Wallflowers. This one has a story that I might not want my middle schoolers to hear. The song is fine, but this song was super popular in the mid 90s when I was in college, and when I would go to the bars with my girlfriends. There was one particular bar called the Wormy Dog, which was as classy as it sounds. Let's just call it that. I mean, it was this hole in the wall place. It was gross. This was before there were smoking rules. And so it was filled with cigarette smoke. It was disgusting. I mean, it was just all over disgusting, but it was within walking distance to where we lived. And we would go there, and they played this song over and over because it was a popular song at the time. Whenever this song comes on, it reminds me of sitting in a round booth with all my friends and just enjoying that time, enjoying being in my early 20s, being surrounded by friends. And yes, we were stressed because it was college, but also we weren't stressed because we didn't have the rest of life around us. And we were, kind of surrounded in this protected environment. And it just brings back a lot of memories. Again, singing. I think there was some singing there too, but not because it was worship. We'll just keep it with that. All right, switching gears. Here we go. So the next, I'm going to say just artist, because there are several songs on there by this artist, is Matthew West. He has, I think I have World Changers on here. I have Hello, My Name Is. I have Something to Say. I love his music. I think he's so vulnerable. He is like the goofiest dad out there, and he just owns it, and I love it. And he talks about, wearing his, skinny dad jeans or something like that in one of his songs. And I really, really do enjoy it. Now, I will say, in the area that I live in, the song World Changers has a real special meaning. There was a teen girl who lives in my neighborhood, and she was diagnosed with cancer. She was gifted a wish through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and her wish was to have a water well built in Zimbabwe. And this really just selfless act inspired Matthew West to write the song World Changers based on her story. There's actually an organization at our local high school called World Changers. Her legacy is living on by inspiring people, and then through this song that he wrote. And he was so gracious. I didn't attend the funeral because I don't know her or her family, but he came to the funeral. So just what a giving man. And Alyssa's legacy definitely is living on through the song, through the organization. And so anyway, that is our our little connection to Matthew West here in my neighborhood. Okay, the next two songs are a little slower. You may be tempted to skip them if you are out and about, but I want to challenge you to keep them in. And I'm going to tell you the meaning behind them, and then I'll tell you why. So the first one is Come to the Table by Sidewalk Prophets. This is a song that I happen to have on, I called it my long run playlist, because I didn't feel like I needed to have all of these like super high energy songs if I was out there training for or running a half marathon. Several years ago, I ran the Route 66 half marathon in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which, by the way, if you are a runner, that is such a fantastic race, and I highly recommend it. And it takes you through all of these different areas of Tulsa. So I am off on the Route 66 half marathon. I'm running around, or I'm in my zone, and this song comes on. So the whole concept of this song is it doesn't matter where you are invited to the table. And by the table, they mean the table of Jesus and of grace, and just being welcomed to exploring your faith and sitting with it. There's some lyrics that say, "Come meet this mighty crew of misfits, these liars and these thieves. No one's unwelcome here. So that sin and shame that you brought with you, you can leave it at the door. Let mercy draw you near." When this song began playing, and I'm running along the streets of Tulsa, Oklahoma, with all of these thousands of other runners, and I look around, and there are people of different shapes and different sizes and different colors. And I just thought, this is such a great application of everybody being welcome here. You hear the term half marathon, and you think that you have to look a certain way or run a certain speed. In reality, it was so many different, it was just so many different kinds of people who were all there under the same goal, just to finish 13.1 miles. Some of them were faster, some of them were slower. It didn't matter. They crossed the finish line. And I remember hearing those words, and no one's unwelcome here. And again, the tears just streaming down my face, and realizing that no one is unwelcome in our health. No one is unwelcome on a half marathon, and no one is unwelcome with Christ, with Jesus. He wants us all. We don't have to be at a certain space. We don't have to have a certain amount of knowledge of the Bible. We just need to be able to sit with him and to lean into him and to have a relationship with him. So that is the meaning behind Come to the Table. And then I'm going to pair that with the final song that I want to share with you and the story behind, which is Holy Spirit by Francesca Battistelli. Now, if you are familiar with this song, you know that this is not a hype song, as my son would call it. This piece was instrumental in everything up into what I'm doing here in this whole Graced Health space. If you've been with me a while, you may have heard me share, it was season 3, episode 7, how I heard from God without spending time in prayer or praise. I never intended to do anything like this. I was perfectly happy in the role that I was in, and being a mom and doing all of that stuff and volunteering at the school. I was perfectly content, and God really shook up my heart and really forced me to spend, I don't want to say force, really invited me to spend some time with him without intention of praying, without intention of praising. And I share more in that episode, but just being with him and sitting with him. I was not expecting to get emotional over this, you guys. Holy Spirit by Francesca Battistelli was a song that they were playing a lot in church. And there was something to that song that just really spoke to me. I would take myself and just sit outside and just sit with God and play this song over and over and over. It is still clearly one of the most meaningful songs that I have in my little library in my head right now. almost without fail, every time I hear this song, God reaches me in a way that I wasn't expecting. So even though this song isn't a hype song, it's not an amped up song, and Come to the Table is sort of that way as well, I invite you to keep it playing. And particularly if you have a relationship with Jesus, just maybe say a quick prayer of like, what do you want me to hear today? What do you want me to experience? What am I missing that you want me to see or to hear? And I can't make any guarantees, but it might be that God wants to share something with you. And I don't know what that is, but that has been a song for me that is just my connection point with God. You know, we sing praises right through the Psalms. We sing music at church, and this is that song for me that just gets me a super strong connection to God right whenever it is that I need it. And he always seems to know when I need to hear it. I could tell you all kinds of stories about when this song played and when I just really felt the Holy Spirit's presence. So those are a few of the songs of Your Worthy Body Walks playlist. I will have the link to that playlist below. You can also just go on Spotify and type in Your Worthy Body Walks. It will be there. Like I said, there are a lot of different kinds of music on there. There's even more than what I have not included here, but it's a fun one. I hope you enjoy it. If you cry when you hear Holy Spirit, I'm sorry and you're welcome. I'll just say that. Now, if you have not signed up yet to receive notification of when Your Worthy Body is released, make sure you do that by going to yourworthybody.com. There's no W's in front of it. Just go to yourworthybody.com, sign up, and I will let you know when it's released and then also when the pre-order starts. So that is going to be a very short window. I invite you to do that, and that way you will definitely get it. It will also help with algorithms and with Amazon knowing that, hey, people actually are interested in this book, so we will print some. And that will just help Amazon be prepared for launch day when I hope everybody listening and more gets it. So enjoy the playlist. If you listen to it, give it a like. Why? I don't know, because that's what we're supposed to ask people to do. But it is on Spotify. Go listen to it. Go out there, have a great walk or whatever else you may be doing, and you will learn all about why walking is such a great workout when you read Your Worthy Body. Okay, that is all for today. Go out there and have a graced day.